Ideas with Jess Lujan.
Hey, we're back with my in-studio guest, attorney Leevin Camacho, and we're talking about Guam's voting rights. And pretty soon, you guys are going to be filing in regards for our vote, again, us being denied the vote for presidency. Now, Leevin, how do you respond to folks saying basically that maybe this is putting the cart before the horse in the sense they're saying, well, is this a precursor to maybe you're really pushing statehood? We haven't really decided yet what we want, because when we do have a plebiscite, it's either be statehood, free association, or independence. And there are folks out there, most especially on the independent side, that says, hey, you know, wait till the people decide, and we don't necessarily want to vote for somebody else's president. Maybe we want to call our person the president here. And so why are you leading us down this road? How do you answer the folks of that? Said, you know, is this an intro to pushing statehood?
Yeah, you know, I can say that you know, we fully support the right to self-determination and the holding of a plebiscite.
Yeah.
So in no way is this kind of looking at becoming a statehood or foreclosing the other possibilities that you mentioned. You know,
sure.
Guam should exercise that right.
Sure.
No doubt about it. But as far as whether or not, you know, we should hold off on arguing that the millions of people who live in the territories should continue to be denied the right to vote until our local government decides that it's time for a plebiscite. Well, that's where you have a conflict.
Sure, sure.
You know, so I really think that if the insular cases hadn't been decided that way, we would still be in the same position. So 100 years ago, when the court did decide those cases, they could have said, the Constitution fully applies. You guys get all the rights of someone who lives in the states. That would still leave Guam's political status unresolved,
sure,
no matter what. So, you know, we're an unincorporated territory. I think one of the benefits of the John Oliver piece is that it just shows some of the disadvantages that we don't really think about.
Yeah.
You know, the political status, our current status as an unincorporated territory, the lack of the right to vote for president, lack of meaningful federal representation, all of that springs from our territorial status as an unincorporated territory.
Sure.
So I think the more attention that we get, both nationally and locally, and the more desire we get to change that, that will actually help both. You know, at least that's the way that.
Yeah. No. Let me ask you this, because there are other lawsuits out there. I know. I think there was an attempt to dismiss, because I know there was a lawsuit in regards to who can vote. You know. Okay. Now, would the courts now, should you file this lawsuit, would the court now look and say, well, let's wait, because I know there's a move from Guam to decide their political self-determination. And again, as Neil will say, hey, he's punting the ball down the road here, right? And now, is there a possibility? I guess there's always a possibility they'll do that. Is punt it down and say, hey, wait until you decide what you want to do with yourselves, and then maybe we can take up this issue, or maybe by then, when you present it to Congress, because even when we do vote for that, it's only a choice, basically. It's not definitive, because it's not a binding vote. We still have to go to Congress for that. Now, is it highly likely that the courts will say something like that?
You know, I'm kind of familiar with the lawsuit that was filed about the plebiscite here on Guam.
Sure.
And really what the court said was, because it's unclear when the plebiscite is going to be held, we're not going to hear the case.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's really... If we were taking those steps to have the plebiscite, again, nothing stops it from moving forward now.
Moving forward, okay.
That's right. So I don't really think that's going to have any impact on the legal issues that are going to be raised in the lawsuit that we'll be filing. So, you know, I also want to, you know, say that this is not going to happen overnight. This is not going to be one lawsuit all of a sudden. We're going to wake up one day and we all have voting rights. You know, the way that I really would describe it, they call it impact litigation, where you file several lawsuits that raise all these different issues, and you have you want to expose the weakness of the insular cases and basically the racism that was used to justify treating people living in the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico differently than the rest of the United States.
Now, do you think, because the Obama administration had filed, again, answered the lawsuit basically, and earlier in regards to the American Samoa's citizenship, okay. Now, do you think they'll come back with a similar response that these voting rights don't, again, apply to citizens of the territories and the Commonwealth?
It's hard to predict the arguments, you know, but it's true that the insular cases are on the books, and I honestly want to say that I think that's the only body of law that's good today from that court. You know, you have the separate but equal, all those, I think there are due process claims. The only thing that survives today is that Congress can treat the territories differently than citizens than the state. So, you know, at some point the court has to revisit it. And I think that's what these lawsuits are designed to do, is to say, Supreme Court or all these district courts, appellate courts, you know, do we really want to continue to follow this rule of law that was based on these terrible premises?
And the rule of law basically is even very vague, because I guess it's whoever wants to interpret it that way. I mean, we're considered domestic at some point, and then we're not. We fly off, we go to Hawaii, we're not fed anymore because we're a domestic destination. Well, if we're a domestic destination, then I mean, it kind of puts me in the same status as Hawaii and LA and all that, right? But as soon as we get down, I mean, they do that for the reason of convenience for them, so they won't feed us. But when we get down, we have to show, I mean, we got to go through immigration. Right. So we become international then, okay? Sometimes there are some outlets, stores that we can buy online, and they ship to any U.S. destination to include the territories. Some of them will say, I'm sorry, we don't ship to foreign countries, so it won't mail to foreign countries. So it's a pick and choose, companies pick and choose. There's no clear definition of who we are. I mean, we're trying in the other side of the phone here, we're saying, hey, we're U.S. citizens. We have the same kind of passport. We don't have we don't have the designation like the American Samoa does, and you know, the back of their passport. But we're treated different. So we definitely, as you said, we need a clearer, I guess, definition on who we are.
I think I remember reading someone describe the territories as being foreign in a domestic sense. and that's what you're getting at. We're domestic, but we're also treated as international or foreign. And you know, we just have grown up, and generations have gone by where we just become accustomed to being denied the right to vote for president, to not having a voting representation. You know, and I think what you see even with the Oliver piece is that it's going to generate buzz to get people more motivated to say, hey, well, why are we treated that way? And to ask those questions, even not only to the courts, but amongst ourselves as an island.
Yeah, and basically even in Congress, I mean, even on the clip when you have a member of Congress introducing the representative from American Samoa, not even knowing how to pronounce American Samoa, you know, and basically I guess Somalia has made the news in years past, right, for terroristic activity. So I guess we're lumped in, you know, as now it's Somalia, right? and all that. So yeah, we're always looked at in the negative side, and whether or not they admit it, it is. And how ironic, just this past weekend, of course, the 50th celebration of course, the Walk over the Bridge in Selma, and now this comes up, and of course, John Oliver's piece that came out there. We got to start somewhere. But how optimistic are you, and of course the other attorneys from We the People, that we've got something with this? Well,
I do want to say, you know, we have a website, representguam.com, and that's where we're trying to get a feel for you know, how much the community is behind this type of effort. So there's a survey, it takes 2 to 3 minutes, and we really encourage people to go online, and if you want to fill out a hard copy, you can call my office, and we'll make it happen. Give
us the address, your email address, and the website. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, right now?
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
The website is representguam.com.
Okay.
And they should have contact information there in terms of how to get a hold of us.
Okay.
So, but the survey is online, 2 to 3 minutes, and we're using that to get a gauge. And whether or not how I feel about, you know.
So there's a little questionnaire, basically.
Yes, it's a short survey that talks about, you know, should we be able to vote for president? How do you feel about this? Again, it's very quick to fill out. Sure. Yeah, and in terms of success, you know, I really look at this as one. It's teaching. You know, I mean, people now. Millions of people will probably watch that John Oliver clip and learn.
They have 1 million hits, I think, right now.
It has 1 million already. Yeah. And you know, even the kind of interest it's gotten locally is good, because again, this is something that we all know happens, but having somebody else describe it to us, it kind of gets our ears to perk up again.
Yeah.